Every deck is made for standing on, but there's only one that's always had a way of standing out. So if you're looking to bring more style, comfort, and creativity to your life outdoors, call on the brand that's known for making the most in outdoor living. From decking, railing, and lighting to furniture, fencing, and framing, at Trex, we're engineering what's next in outdoor living. To learn more about all of the outdoor solutions Trex has to offer, call 1-800-289-TREX or visit Trex.com. That's TREX.com.
Golic and Wingo on ESPN Radio and ESPN2, presented by Progressive Insurance on this Tuesday morning. All phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Mike Golic Jr., Trey Wingo. And congratulations, Houston. What you worked for all 82 games of the regular season in one playoff game, poof, good night and goodbye. For those that are watching on ESPN2, Mike Golic Sr. is wearing a particular shirt today for a very particular reason.
Rarely do I wear a shirt that's themed for the day, but I have on the Christmas Story, one of the great movies of all time, for the BB gun. We want to get the BB gun. I mean, who doesn't want
the Red Ryder BB gun?
BB gun.
Shoot your eye out.
That's exactly right. There you go. It is where the bar of soap in the mouth of Ralphie after he says, "Oh, fudge. Only I didn't say fudge." He said the mother of all words. So I wore this shirt in honor of every Houston Rockets fan as that game was ending, all saying, "Oh, fudge. Only they didn't say fudge. They said the mother of all words," because there is nothing that they can do. Yeah. There is no way that they can stop what's about to happen to them. It's only a matter of how many games can they maybe win in this thing before Golden State advances on, because what an onslaught that was. What a three-point shooting exhibition that was for a while by everybody. And we'll obviously break this thing down. But from passing to Golden State, from isolation to Houston, you got everything the book said you were going to get. And you got, I think, the only time you'll ever see a Curry and Durant underdogged team ever again was last night.
Yeah, you only need to make that mistake one time before they remind you who daddy is and all of this. Kevin Durant. We're gonna do that thing where we like wildly overreact to his postseason performance again and start to put him atop. And I totally get it though. Like watching that performance last night was so singularly impressive because we had that second spectrum stat a while ago about Kevin Durant shooting over shorter players.
What kind of stat?
Oh, don't do this.
Yeah.
About Kevin Durant shooting over shorter players. Everyone who tried to check him last night fell underneath that bar. It was unbelievable.
We'll get to that. Obviously, the other big thing everybody is talking about is the floodgates are open, baby. Everybody wants to make it rain now.
Oh, I've made a handful of bets already.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Where?
Well,
there you go.
Yeah. Never mind.
It's about to say.
Where most people have been doing it for the last 25 years.
That's exactly.
Illegally.
That's exactly
Your bookie
right.
enjoying his final days on this earth.
What everybody's talking about is the gambling now shot down by the Supreme Court at 7. What was the ruling?
6-3.
7-2.
7-2
I heard it was 6-3.
No, 7-2.
Why is everywhere does it say 6-3?
I only saw 7-2.
It absolutely does. It absolutely says 6-3.
You on an illegal offshore internet too?
Not that important, but the
no, you're looking at a baseball score.
The bottom line is the Supreme Court has struck down the 1992 rule, which said that other states can't, besides Vegas and Atlantic City or New Jersey, could not have sports bets, and now the floodgates are open. And I love the myriad of hot takes that everyone's talking about this. The myriad of hot takes is like, this means this means that. Let's be honest, nobody knows what this means exactly right now.
By the way, the first article that was printed up for me says 6-3 decision standing, so you can go ahead and stick it right now.
It definitely says that right there.
Yeah, that's what you can do.
Not that important.
The first article I had you print up
Washington
for me.
Post.
Yeah, says 6-3. Okay, so now you just want to rip papers and not say the fact that you were wrong.
Again, not that important.
I wasn't wrong.
Listen, no wonder print media is dying.
But again, not that important. The bottom line is legal gambling now can be played however the states want to do it. And this has opened up the conversation for a million different things, and we'll get into that a lot. What does it mean for the teams? What does it mean for each state and how they're going to do with it? What does it mean for the players who suddenly look? Everyone wants a skin in the game now.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone wants a skin in the game.
How do I get mine from this?
Yeah. And that's what everybody's talking about, brought to you by Lowe's. Pros in the Nose start with Lowe's. Go to lowesforpros.com for details. We'll get into all of that throughout the show, but let's start with what's trending, and what's trending is that the Golden State Warriors are going back to the NBA Finals. Steve Kerr said prior to Game 1 against the Rockets, quote, I'm taking the Warriors plus 1.5. Ba-doom-cha! As the Warriors were underdogs for the first time in a game in which Kevin Durant and Steph Curry both played, and that will never happen again.
So here you go. Hit the button on here. Second Spectrum stats. This is James Harden, 7.9 seconds. Chris Paul, 5.6 seconds. Had the longest average touch length of any players in Game 1.
Touch length?
Yes. How long they held on to the ball.
Okay.
I feel like we have to drop that.
I know. I feel like I need to put $1 out or something. Houston took 19 shots with 5 or fewer seconds left on the shot clock. How many times in the first half did they go beyond, did they have a shot clock violation? I think 3. While the Warriors on the other side had 22 possessions in which they passed the ball 5 times or more. So basically, we can look at the, Durant, say how great he is and nobody can guard him because he's guarded against shorter guys. Everybody's shorter than him. And unless the centers are guarding him, but they're not, out wide. So he's going to shoot over everybody. The bottom line is these two teams, the way they play, isolation game with Houston, and Harden is going to score, and then moving the ball and passing and everybody getting into the game on the Golden State side, and they're not going to lose.
James Harden just flat out ran out of gas. That's what we saw last postseason and now last night. How many shots were there in the fourth quarter of James Harden on the bench for long stretches to start the fourth quarter until I finally heard one of the announcers say they've got to get James Harden back in that game because that team was starting to drown. Usually for the Warriors it's the third quarter, but Houston able to hold that off to some extent in the fourth quarter. It just all started to fall apart.
Your best player scored 41. Steph Curry was under 20, and you still lost at home by 13.
How many Draymond Green have? Draymond Green had 5 points.
5.
Got that early technical.
And good night.
Can I give you one, how good Vegas is as we tie it all into the gambling?
Whoa, going back to Vegas. I love it.
Holy smokes. The total points in this game was 225. Mm-hmm. The over-under before the game was 225.5.
They're pretty good.
The 3-point field goals made before the odds were 26.5 over-under. There were 26. I mean, they're really
know,
good.
This just in, they know what they're doing.
Holy smokes.
And now every other state wants to prove they know what they're doing just as good as, or well, as Vegas knows what they're doing. And that leads us to Game 2 of the Eastern Conference Finals tonight between the Cavs and the Celtics. Boston in 7:30 on ESPN and ESPN Radio. The Celtics have not lost at home this postseason.
So, we all know the way LeBron's going to come out of this one. It's come flying out of the gate, whether it's going to be, in jumpers or driving the lane, going that route. But it's going to be, how about the lineup? Is Tristan Thompson going to be in the lineup? When it was Kevin Love covering Horford had a field day. When it was Tristan Thompson covering Horford didn't score any points. So do you start out the game that way? That's what we're going to see from the beginning. But the bottom line is going to be just what LeBron does for him to score and then to try and get everybody else involved.
So for this game, and we asked this morning on First and Last, for LeBron James, because we know Game 2 in the Pacers series, he came out, went for over 40. In keeping with the theme of the day, LeBron James over under 35.5 tonight.
Taking the hard over.
Taking the hard over on that?
Hammering the over.
Yeah.
Hammering the over, Junior.
I was interested in this because, I think the Boston Celtics are a better defensive team than they dealt with in Indiana. Yeah. And we saw last series the importance of the other Cavs, the much maligned other Cavs. I'd be interested, who's the second most important Cav tonight outside of LeBron James? Who needs to step up in the biggest way for this team to have success?
I think it's either J.R. Smith or Kevin Love because they have to get perimeter shooting from the outside to open things up inside. Love can spot up and hit it. JR can spot up and hit it. One of those players has to be at least a constant threat from the three-point line for them to have any chance.
Yeah, I would say Kevin Love, and I would say that post presence that we saw come up against Toronto as well. When you've got Al Horford down there dealing on both ends for the Celtics, you've got to have a force to counteract that, and I thought Kevin Love lost that matchup when it was presented to him in Game 1.
So that's why
agree.
Tristan Thompson may be the starter in this game to combat that. They've
got to have somebody on the inside to hit threes so that can open up something inside for LeBron to penetrate or for Kevin Love to get down there. You're right, because that was as poorly as LeBron played in Game 1. That was the missing factor in Game 1 that they didn't have that they had against the entire 4-game sweep against the Raptors. Oh, we're ping-ponging it. Coming up tonight, the NBA Draft Lottery, 7:30 on ESPN, and the Suns actually have the best lottery odds at 25%.
Yeah, remember, the new rule is not going into effect until next year when the bottom three teams all have a 14% chance to get the top pick. So as Trey mentioned, the Suns number 125, then the Grizzlies, then the Mavericks, then the Hawks, and the Magic. Those are the top five right there. And each of the last 3 years, the team that had the best chance ended up getting the top pick. The Cavaliers, remember, they had that Brooklyn pick. Right now, the pick has a 9% chance of landing in the top three and a 90% chance of being 8, 9, 10, or 11. How about this goes back? How about this one that going back to the Nash trade in 2012? The Lakers lottery pick is going to go to either the 76ers or the Celtics based off of that trade back in 2012. That's a bummer there, but you always love the ping pong balls. Again, it's going to change next year as far as the odds go. We'll have a little fun with some ping pong balls today on the show that involves some candy, so I'm very happy about that.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, too. Now you look at the prospects at the top of the draft. Yep. DeAndre Ayton, who we got to know well for some good reasons and some less than savory reasons through the course of the college basketball season. Luka Doncic, who our colleague Mina Kimes did a great piece on, who's supposed to be maybe the best prospect to come from across the pond that we've seen. And then some of the names that we do know, like Marvin Bagley and Trae Young. And the one I'm interested in,
Jaren Jackson, Mohamed Bamba.
Michael Porter Jr., who missed the majority of this season with an injury, who was highly touted. I remember being down at Missouri calling a football game, and they were already buzzing about Michael Porter Jr. and the potential for his brother there with that team in Missouri. We didn't get to see him there, so a little more of, I think, an unknown commodity for the general public going into this draft.
Again, that's at 7:30 tonight on ESPN, and as Senior Golic alluded to, we'll have a little fun with ping pong.
Yes, we will.
Well, I don't know if they're ping pong. They're spheres.
They're something
spheres
circular.
Of some yeah, there's something circular.
We're going to pick them and win things.
Or lose things, one way or the other. So we'll figure that out going forward. And it's all about Vegas right now. It really is, because the Golden Knights beat the Jets 3-1 to even the Western Conference Finals at 1 game apiece. Vegas had 500-1 odds to win the Stanley Cup and 250 odds to 1 to win the Western Conference at the start of the season, both worse than the NHL. And boy, the Sharps are hoping that doesn't come to fruition if someone put down big money on that.
Listen, this has just become very easy for Vegas. Marc-Andre Fleury.
Yep.
That's it. It begins and ends there. The 9 wins, he's allowed 10 goals, so that's just over a goal a game. In the 3 losses, over 3.5 goals a game. That's pretty much it.
Sums it up.
Yeah, that pretty much does it. And so Wednesday we get the game 3 with the series tied at 1-1. The winner goes on to win 70% of the time. So here you go, Vegas. Enjoy the spotlight here.
Guts by Vegas on the road last night, because that Winnipeg crowd is something. They had me actively Googling the words to "O Canada" because it was absolutely going off during the Canadian national anthem last night. Had the whole place rocking, and then what does Vegas come out and do? Score 2 goals in the first period to really put them on their heels. And then in the third, when Winnipeg finally puts one on the board, starts that comeback, Vegas immediately counters with a goal of their own to put it back out of reach. So a lot of guts for them in that road environment last night. We'll see if they can take it back in Vegas now.
You ever been to Manitoba?
I've not.
Yeah, there's not a lot going on there. So that's why
they're into their team. That's so
good.
It's
wonderful. It's wonderful.
They're Canada's team right now.
You know what they're not doing? They're not lighting their stadium on fire. Okay,
that's also true. Which, by the way, we're still not in favor of.
No, we're not.
No, we're definitely not in favor.
No air quotes. We are not in favor of that.
Would never light a stadium on fire,
shape, or form. It's not something we would want to relegate ourselves to in any way, shape, or form. All right, Golic and Wingo, presented by Progressive Insurance, with more than 30 unique coverage options available. Progressive knows small business. Learn more at Progressive.com. And, Junior, you talked about it a little bit, but what we saw last night from the Golden State Warriors is what they've done all year, third quarter and beyond. In the regular season, the Warriors were plus 371 in the third quarter, best in the NBA by nearly 200 points. Second on that list, the Rockets. Their playoff third quarters have actually even been better. They're plus 6.3 in the third quarter as opposed to plus 4.5 in the regular season. And that's exactly how it played out. It was tied at the half. They got that lead going in the third quarter, and all they did was expand it in the fourth. It's just a war of attrition when you play this team. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when they will outgun you.
I'm just very curious now what, if anything, the Rockets can do to adjust in this, because it seems like you talk about the danger of trying to take away any one of these guys is that you trot 3 other Hall of Famers out there. But I think we can all be honest at this point that this if it wasn't super clear last year, is definitely Kevin Durant's team. As important as Steph Curry is, and we saw those points when he was out with injury during the season, Kevin Durant is the best player on the court at any given time for this Golden State team. So if you don't stop him, I feel like you've just got no shot. You've got to at least start there.
Yeah, and stop him, have fun. Trying to do that because they move the ball so well. Even when he's covered, forgetting moving the ball on open shots. By the way, Klay Thompson took 15 threes last night. They shot 33 as a team. He took almost half of them.
And was only 6 of 15.
Well, it's exactly right, but that's all the passing going around. He's getting good looks at this. Durant, not always getting good looks. He's covered, but he's just shooting over everybody. I'm with you. I don't know where they go because the game's not going to change. It's an isolation game. Harden and Paul, they took 41 of the 85 shots for Houston, so they took almost 50% of the shots, and we know. Yep. Dribble, hold the ball, look for the ISO, and try and get the shot off. I mean, that's what they're doing. Nothing's going to change. So to your point, I don't know what's going to change for Houston in this case.
Well, look, they all knew, everybody, whether it was the Rockets or the Warriors, that the key on that first game was absolutely Kevin Durant and his dominant performance. Here's Steph Curry.
He's an unbelievable scorer. He likes the big moments, and so for us to feed the beast and him to carry us the way he did was huge. And the good part about what we bring as a team is we know how to feed the hot hand. Over the course of the whole series, though, everybody's going to have a huge impact in us getting 4 or 3 more wins now.
So, listen, let's just set it up again. Let's just put it in some sort of perspective. The Rockets admitted they were obsessed. GM Daryl Morey, we are obsessed with finding ways to beat the Warriors. We got home court advantage. We worked all season to get them where they're going to have to go through us at our place. We were the number 1 seed. And on a night where Draymond Green only has 5, and on a night where Steph Curry was good but not great, he had 18 points. Kevin Durant went nuts. Klay Thompson went nuts. And you had no answer, and even though your best player had 41 points. How demoralized – is this on the demoralizing level of what the Cavs did to the Raptors in Game 1? Is it on that level?
I think so. I think based on the amount of buildup that you've had around this one force in thinking that you've wanted something and been prepared for something and finding out you're not, because now the onus is again on, do you have the fortitude to adjust some? Because the tendency when you get to this level, we hear this all the time with teams, we're going to play our game.
Right.
What we did was so good that it got us here. But when you're going up against a force that's just different than what we've seen for a while now in the NBA and Golden State, do you have to adjust some? Do you have to initiate offense earlier? I mean, for James Harden, it seemed like all the isolation for the most part was predicated on getting him his shot. Where last year we heard all about James Harden, the distributor. What a capable guy he was getting the ball to his teammates. Is there room to try and force more of that in an area and in a time where maybe that goes against what's gotten you to this point?
So you look at the way the shots went down, and Harden shot from the field over 50%. 3-point land, he shot over 50%. Chris Paul shot just under 50%. The only one even close to that, just under 50%, was Eric Gordon at 6 for 13. So, like the LeBron Cavaliers, you need other players to step up. Harden is the first player to go 40-plus points in Game 1 of 3 series. So he's doing what he's supposed to do on the offensive side, just like when LeBron does his thing and he doesn't get enough help from his teammates, Harden's going to need more help. Now, there is another side of that. As Harden's scoring is 41, guess what the Warriors are doing? They're attacking Harden. The Warriors attempted 23 shots and scored 33 points with Harden as the primary defender. No other Rocket player defended more than 9 shots or allowed more than 15 points. So he's getting his on the offense. They're attacking him on the defense, and not enough of his friends are coming to help, just like what we say with LeBron in Cleveland at times.
Well, look, here's the thing. I mean, now if you're Mike D'Antoni, you've got to spin this somehow, some way, right? Hey, listen, that was their best game. We can play better.
Maybe they'll miss?
Yeah. So this was him post-game saying, hey, we know what we need to do.
Oh, they're really good. You're just not going to come in and just knock them out. I mean, we just too many times we had just mental lapses, and we either didn't switch properly or we didn't switch hard enough. We didn't switch over play. We turned the ball over a little bit too much. Every time we miss a layup, which we missed a lot of layups, they ran out. They're really devastating. We got to make layups, don't turn it over, and do a little bit better job of mentally just stand up on people.
Okay. So that's the.
He's a coach. He's got to. He's got to. Right. He's got to say something.
You have to say something.
You can point to 13 turnovers and say we can't turn it over that much. Transition defense, obviously. So yeah, as a coach, that's what you do. You look at film and you try and point to the little things, because this is the biggest difference of, and it's different in football because it's one game, is series in the other sports is the regular season stuff that you would sit down and film in the next day and get completely just yelled at for, destroyed. But in the playoffs, it's like, there's no sense in yelling anymore. There's no sense in losing your mind anymore, because not going to help. We just have to be, it all has to be constructive criticism to try and move forward. And that's where D'Antoni is right now. Where if this was game 34, he'd maybe yell a little more at some of the things going on. Now, game 2 coming up, it's got to be a little more, okay, this didn't go well, but this is how we can fix it for game 2.
And we're going to sit here all morning and try and find ways to get the 7-game series that we want by inventing stuff for Houston. There's one spot where I think they were deficient last night, and they could turn around, and if they can force their hand, they can force Golden State's hand this other way, they might have a shot. So as we go on this morning, there's a little nugget for you. We'll get to that one in a bit.
Tease,
a little tease?
Yeah.
Wow. Well,
I still am digging my old fudge shirt, as what every Houston Rocket fan was saying.
Let me just say to the Houston Rockets and anybody else, let's use that line, Liam Neeson from Taken.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of luck, coming up, your luck and your chance to play golf with us at Pinehurst. Woo! But it's not a golf retreat. It's a screw that. It's absolutely going to play golf. Yeah. We'll get to that and what you can bet on eventually and where you might be able to do it and how it might all play out.
Hey everyone, Mike Golic here. Support for the Golic Wingo podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Chances are you're confident when it comes to your work, your hobbies, your life. Rocket Mortgage gives you that same level of confidence when it comes to buying a home or refinancing your existing home loan. With Rocket Mortgage, you can apply simply and understand fully so you can mortgage confidently. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Mikes. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLS consumeraccess.org number 3030.
Every deck is made for standing on, but there's only one that's always had a way of standing out. So if you're looking to bring more style, comfort, and creativity to your life outdoors, call on the brand that's known for making the most in outdoor living. From decking, railing, and lighting to furniture, fencing, and framing, at Trex, we're engineering what's next in outdoor living. To learn more about all of the outdoor solutions Trex has to offer, call 1-800-289-TREX or visit Trex.com. That's Trex.com.
Golic and Wingo on ESPN Radio and ESPN2, presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line, and we will dive into the myriad of hot takes that have been spewing forth like lava after the Supreme Court decision striking down the law against sports betting in most states in this country. We will get into that. There's a lot to get into. We'll try and put some context on it for you and figure out what it actually means and what it actually doesn't mean. But here's one thing we know for sure. You have a chance to have a really good time.
Golic and Wingo Leadership Retreat.
That's right. In case you weren't with us Monday, we've announced that we are going to have our first annual Golic and Wingo offsite all-hands town hall leadership retreat strategy session golf tournament.
Yes, we are.
We are giving away a chance for you guys to come play golf with me, Junior, Senior, and Stu Gatz at Pinehurst Resort. Okay? So you and 2 friends, right? You get to pick 2 friends. We're going to have 4 winners. They get a chance to come play golf with us. Oh, and have some leadership skills.
Yes, well, without
very important. Very important.
Tons of great skills you can take back to your workplace, to your family, to your community.
Like a tan, or a Pinehurst shirt,
all that,
or a buzz, all those kind of things.
The rope courses and trust falls and things like that all happen around between the 6th and 10th hole.
Yes, but Mike, you've got to tell people how they can enter.
Okay, so here's what you need to do. Okay, you can enter between now and Friday, May 25th. And you get 1 entry and 1 entry only. You have to be following at Golic and Wingo. So you're going to tweet to us at Golic and Wingo, and you're going to use the hashtag Golf with GW Contest. Make sure you do that. So you're tweeting to at Golic and Wingo, hashtag Golf with GW Contest. 1 entry. You could just tweet us whatever you want to say. You can tweet a photo. You can tweet a video. We've been getting tons of entries so far. You get 1 entry.
Right, so make it good.
And there will be 4, not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 grand prize winners, And you don't just get to bring one person with you.
No.
Each winner gets to bring 2 friends with them, so you will have 3 of you. And then Trey will golf with one of those groups. I will. You will. And Stu Gatz will.
Maybe.
As well.
Maybe.
Right now, Stu Gatz is part
He's
of
on
this.
probation.
We're trying to marry the show.
Yeah.
We're trying to do all that fun
Trying to
stuff.
bridge the gap, and we figure in this new day and age with gambling, Stu Gatz is actually going to have some unique leadership abilities that he can impart on you, the future degenerates of America.
Thought about that. That's
Understand what you're getting. 3-day, 2-night trip to Pinehurst Resort in Pinehurst, North Carolina. Round-trip airfare for you and your 2 guests. Premium accommodations at Pinehurst Resort, including hotels and meals. You're going to get treated like kings and queens, and understand where you're golfing. Trey, tell them just how good Pinehurst number 2 is.
Well, Pinehurst number 2, they've had U.S. Opens there. It's got the unique Donald Ross designed golf course greens where they're sort of like upside-down teacups where everything rolls off of them.
That's great. So, that'll help my game.
No, it won't, actually, in any way, shape, or form.
Okay.
By the way, if you didn't digest all of that, a tweet pinned to our Twitter page at Golic and Wingo has all of this information. But here's all you need to know. You're going to get a chance to have a few beers and play golf with us. We're going to have a great time.
We're going to do the show out there.
Hey, let's reel it in. We'll put a pin in that. Circle back. Let's talk a little bit about the obstacle course. Team building.
Yeah, not really. The obstacle course will be the greens. It
will be the greens, and the teams will be the winners teamed up with all of us. So, in actuality, there will be team building and obstacle course thingamajiggers.
Exactly, and it's just through the golf, which is the way we want to do it anyway.
Great golf course, though.
Really good. Pinehurst number 2 is one of the best golf courses in the country, and we get to play the short course as well, the Cradle, which is their par 3 course.
So you're going to love it. You get 1 entry at Golic and Wingo, and make sure you hashtag golf with GW contest, 1 entry. Get it done. You have till Friday, May 25th, and come with us to Pinehurst.
Make it good. Make it creative. You only get 1 shot. And if it stinks, you don't get to come.
That's also true. All right, time for Straight Talk now, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Best phones, best networks, no contracts. Clearly, the straightest talk everybody wants to get right now is what now happens in the aftermath of the Supreme Court ruling. So basically, so everyone knows to set the parameters, the Supreme Court ruled on Monday in favor of New Jersey. Basically, the case formerly was known as Chris Christie versus the NCAA. Chris Christie's name has been supplanted by Phil Murphy, the state's new governor, basically striking down a 25-year-old federal law known as the Professional and Amateur Sports Protection Act that largely outlawed sports betting outside of Nevada. So basically what we're saying now is the Supreme Court has said, no, that's stupid. If states want to have sports betting, they can have sports betting. And now the question becomes, what does that mean? And what does that mean for where you live? And I think the first thing we need to say is right now the only place you can still do this is Nevada. Okay?
Correct.
Now, other states, and I think there's several, like West Virginia, Connecticut, New Jersey, and a couple other ones.
So New Jersey's very soon. New Jersey could be up and running as soon as, my understanding is around the NBA Finals.
Could be the NBA Finals,
yeah, so
exactly.
They want to get up and running. So the question then becomes, what does this mean first and foremost to legalize gambling in Nevada? I think the first question we say is, people are not going to need to flock to Nevada and the Las Vegas casinos to do their sports betting anymore, because I think we believe a lot of states will see this as a way to add revenue.
Yeah, I mean, right now you could go to Nevada, you could do some offshore betting as well, and then there's the $50 to $150 billion business of illegal betting, which had been going on. Because basically it had been about $5 billion in Vegas, of which football, college and pro, had taken up, I think, about $1.75 billion of that. That would be the most. So now it is going to open up to, they said, possibly within 5 years you could have 32 states with legalized gambling. And there are a ton of questions here, and I think the one of the first biggest ones is going to be, is it going to be individual states making the laws, or, as the NFL has said they would like to have, and maybe others as well, something uniformly done? You know, making legislation to where, okay, these are the rules for all the states. You can't individually have your own rules. I think that's going to, while states are going to start out that way, you wonder, will it end up being universal in the long run?
Yeah, I'll be interested to ask Ryan about that, because the legality of that process, which there seems like there's more lawsuits on the way, basically, because you've got the potential for the sports leagues now going to bat with the states, because the one thing that a lot of people have made clear is that Nevada hasn't been giving a cut of their revenue to any of these sports leagues.
That's exactly right. Let's make one thing clear. The biggest winner in every state that wants to do this is going to be the state. because they're going to get the revenue. And here's former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie explaining.
In my view, it's a few $100 million a year probably in tax revenue. It's a significant amount of money, and let's face it, it's better off, in my view, going into defraying taxes, making sure that programs are paid for through things like that than through higher income taxes and higher sales taxes and property taxes. I think that'd be much better. And I know when I'm speaking to people in Illinois, they're the only people who suffer more than people in New Jersey from that. So they're going to love hearing that they're going to get some extra money that way.
He mentioned Illinois because he was on Waddle and Sylvie in ESPN Chicago. So the states are going to be the big winners.
Here's
first
the thing,
and foremost.
because let's be honest, when something like this happens, everybody starts to think, how am I getting mine? Where am I getting a cut of this? First and foremost is going to be the states. Let's look at something else that has been illegal everywhere and now is becoming legalized, marijuana. Look in Colorado, so between 2014 and 2017, the tax revenue they got, over $500 million to the state. So it's doing what they thought it was going to do. It's going to
generating
make
revenue.
The state money, and that's what these states want. They want money, but we know, Mike, how this works. Everybody else, it was just like the FanDuels and the DraftKings when they were making it illegal. When was it going to become legal? When everybody figured out how much money they were going to get out of it. So that's what's going to go on here. The states are going to get the money, and then it's going to be like, okay, now who's reaching into the pocket to try and grab some of this money to try and get rich a little quicker on this one?
There is so much of that at stake. And for everyone, it's because it makes life easier in a lot of these realms. For the state, if you've got other areas where you're in debt, you've got other areas that are problems for you, this money helps some of that. If you're the leagues and you've been struggling with television ratings or attendance, all of a sudden, these things create a groundswell around those issues. So everyone understands that money, like a lot of things, can lessen a lot of problems. It may not fix everything, but it can fix a lot.
And that's the next thing. We know the states are going to make their money. The question then becomes, how do the leagues get what they perceive to be their slice of this, and what are realistic expectations for what they're going to do? We'll get into that and hear what one owner had to say about that in a minute. But that was Straight Talk Wireless, nationwide coverage on America's largest and most dependable 4G LTE networks. Coming up, we'll have much more on that decision, including the argument, why do sports teams think they're actually going to get any money from this when they haven't been getting it from Vegas all these years? Also, a timely day for the NBA lottery to be here, by the way.
Love scoring amazing hotel deals? Then you've got to get the Hotel Tonight app. Forget scrolling through never-ending lists of hotels. Hotel Tonight shows you a select list of incredible deals at hotels you actually want to stay at. And even though the name's Hotel Tonight, you can book up to 100 days in advance in top destinations and up to a week in advance everywhere else. Want to get those deals? Yeah, you do. Download the Hotel Tonight app now.
A Western Conference center said LeBron is a competitor. If he went to Golden State, that would cut his competitive edge out. Can we just throw that one out? I am willing to bet my son's job. There is no way he's going to Golden State. Who you with that, Mike?
Why don't you bet your paycheck? It's worth more than my job.
Good point. Sports Center brought to you by Pennzoil. The big race in Indianapolis is center stage every May, but you don't have to be a racing enthusiast to focus on your engine. With Pennzoil Synthetics, you'll get complete protection for top engine performance. Pennzoil puts your vehicle center stage no matter what month it is. Pennzoil, make the switch.
All right, Golic and Wingo with you, ESPN Radio and ESPN2. Obviously, a lot of our discussion today is about what went down yesterday with the Supreme Court striking down that 25-year-old federal law against that sports betting outside of the state of Nevada. And everyone has their theories on what this means for everything. And literally none of us have any idea at this point.
No, we do not.
Let's just be clear. We're in the infant stages here, the infancy stages. But the NBA may have been the most proactive of any league in preparing for this. Adam Silver has come out and said, hey, I want 1% of every dollar gambled on the NBA. And, well, good luck getting that. And that led to Mark Cuban saying this. Basically, everybody who owns sports is now a huge winner.
I think everybody who owns the top four professional sports team just basically saw the value of their team double at least. It could finally become fun to go to a baseball game again. All that downtime. A basketball game, football, it's easy to see how you'll have fun at the arena, at the stadium, and while you're watching, I think this is something that benefits everybody, even tangentially associated with sports.
Okay, so right now the Mavericks are estimated to be worth $1.9 billion. So he's basically saying I'm going to be worth $3.8 billion.
Not $4 billion.
We're going to have a discussion about this because I don't know how it doubles.
Correct.
I have no idea how it's going to double, and I have no idea how Adam Silver says I want $1. How much is Nevada paying out to all the teams?
That would be $0.00.
Why would you pay? What possibly could the sport leagues hold over your head?
To that point, Chris Christie, the former governor of New Jersey, again, whose name was on this when he was the governor of New Jersey, and now it's been changed to Phil Murphy because he's the governor, was on again with Waddle and Sylvie in Chicago, and he addressed that very issue. Basically, why would they give you anything?
Right now, they get nothing from Nevada, right? So I'm sure there will be some states that will argue, listen, you've been allowing sports gambling in Nevada for all of these years. You haven't gotten any piece of that action, and so why should you get a piece of action from my particular state? There will be others who will say, listen, in order to be able to do this the right way, to protect integrity and to provide data, then maybe the leagues deserve some piece. I think that's going to be a very, very vigorous debate throughout the states. And we'll see what New Jersey does. They'll probably be the first ones out of the box on this and see what they do. And we'll try to see if the leagues try to revisit their arrangement in Nevada, because right now in Nevada they don't get any money.
So, again, let me say good luck.
I think the leagues actually come at this with a decent amount of strength, more than we're giving them credit for.
In what way?
In the fact that now that this is all above board, what helps people create more accurate odds, more accurate bets? The amount of math that's going on in Las Vegas at any given sportsbook at any given time is staggering.
Right.
And so what helps that? More accurate information that is proprietary to a lot of these leagues, the things that they are tracking in-house in a lot of these leagues, that if they became available to the people creating these odds, would help them create more accurate lines, would help them be more accurate across the board, and I think is something that the league could hold over their head and actually strong-arm them with the other way now that they've got the leverage of legality on their side.
Let me ask this, though. Wouldn't all this betting be public?
All of what betting?
All the legal betting would all be public.
Yeah, but I think yes.
Hold on, but all their betting,
the information, not the bets. The information that the league has. That's what you're saying.
I'm saying information in the league about player stats, all the different things, the next gen stats,
second spectrum
that people are tracking.
Wait, that anybody can get right now.
No, but
hire a company to get you those numbers.
I understand that, but there are things that, as the league that presides over the sport, only you can put tracking devices on your own players and do those things. And all of a sudden, that information, I'm sure, could become not public very quick if you don't want it to, as a league who doesn't think you're getting your just due in all of this. That's my point when they talk about proprietary information that these leagues could leverage against them. I think it's that stuff. I think it's injury information that you've got an inside track on as a league that could go to those people that all of a sudden wouldn't.
The injury information would be very hard to not get out because the Vegas Sharps are probably better prepared on the actual injuries than anybody else actually is on that front.
I get what you're saying, but I don't think it's going to. I don't think they have that much strength. I do not.
The point you're making, which I think makes a lot of sense, is that the league, when Chris Christie says there's going to be a vigorous debate, let's just be honest.
Yeah.
That's code for lawyering up.
Yeah.
That's exactly what's going to happen. As our former colleague here, Andrew Brandt, always likes to say on Twitter, there will be lawyers and billable hours. And that's where this is going to get really interesting, because the NBA invoked that one phrase that everybody uses when they're preparing for a legal battle, and that is intellectual property. The NBA and the players and our games are our intellectual property, and that's an avenue, I think, to Junior's point.
It's an interesting avenue that I don't think I agree with as much as you do, but then again, we're in a state of we don't know.
Right.
We don't know what proprietary information they can actually get that they could hold from everybody else.
How much that's being given away freely now can they take back that this is all legal, that this would all be something that everyone can do everywhere?
Let's just say this will be vigorously debated, and lots of the only winner right now are the states and lawyers.
Yeah,
those are the only ones that are guaranteed to make money now that the cat is out of the bag. All right, coming up, we will play our own lottery.
Yes, we will.
Plus, we'll get someone smarter than us in here to explain the legal side of the Supreme Court decision. And let me just say, that's a very low bar to cross. Stay with us. We're back.
Open the door and yell.
At Trex, we know there's a place for wood in your backyard. We recommend the fire pit. But when it comes down to choosing the right material for your next deck, look no further than the superior beauty and durability of the world's #1 premium decking brand. Trex delivers the look of wood without all of the work and the worry, and it's made from 95% recycled materials, which makes it the right choice for your backyard 100% of the time. To learn how to make Trex your next deck, visit Trex.com to order samples.
Golic and Wingo with you on ESPN Radio and ESPN News, presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. That song and that lyric, "Wish I Was a Little Bit Taller," makes all the sense in the world when you saw what Kevin Durant did in Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals against shorter opponents trying to guard him, because it did not go well.
Again, I say I rarely wear themed shirts, but I have on the Christmas Story Ralphie O Fudge shirt where he has a soap in his mouth because he didn't say fudge. He said the mother of all words.
The bad word.
And that's exactly what the Rocket fans were saying last night as they watched that game finish, going, oh, fudge, because what do you do now?
Yep, their better is just better than our better at this point.
Right.
And that cold truth crept into their hearts somewhere around the middle of the fourth quarter.
How about it?
Absolutely. Trey Wingo, Mike Golic Jr. here with you. We're glad you're with us. Lots to get to today, including Game 2 tonight coming up of the Eastern Conference Finals. Ryan Smith, by the way, our legal analyst, will join us in just about 30 minutes.
Right.
Hopefully he'll help us navigate a little bit of what will, may, or may not happen now that the Supreme Court has struck down that 25-year-old law basically banning all sports betting outside of the state of Nevada. Carlos Boozer, two-time NBA analyst, will join us in studio in just a little bit. Nothing like a two NBA All-Star. Yeah, sorry about that. Nothing like a little booze cruise on a Tuesday morning.
There you go. Absolutely.
Todd Furman, a former odds maker at Caesars Palace, will also stop by at 8:30. I am curious.
Oh, they're going to become big.
I am very curious to see how he interprets this and what are the things that may be a spinoff. Because one of the things that's going to be interesting about this is now that this is out there and it's going to be a part of, how quickly does every network have a gambling analyst? How quickly might we have an analyst in the booth of a game talking about some things that may be going on? That would be fascinating.
To what extent does it change the content and structure of almost every show that we and other networks do?
Yep.
And that's going to be the interesting underlying part of this, is assessing how much more the market for gambling can grow now that it's legalized, because we understand there's already a ton of money and interest in this, or else we wouldn't be having this conversation. Now it's how much more room is there to grow, and how does that alter with the new information that we get, how we conduct our business?
Well, that's exactly right. Everybody has a stake in the game, and there's a lot of ways to go, including us. How can we present it in a way that's going to make it easy for the fan to understand, accessible for the fan, because this show is going to have to do it. We are going to have to talk about gambling and odds and numbers and things like that, and put it in. And it's something I'm not used to. I mean, without question, I am not used to it at all, but it's something I will get even more familiar with because I have to, and I'll want to, because it is now going to become part of sports.
We'll get to all of that, plus Michael Wilbon will join us in the 9 o'clock hour. But first, let's do what's trending. And kudos to Steve Kerr, by the way, who understands the time and place maybe perhaps better than anyone. He said prior to Game 1 against the Rockets, I'm taking the Warriors plus 1.5 as they were underdogs on the day, by the way, where the Supreme Court struck down the ban on sports gambling. First of all, kudos to you, Steve, for putting that all together. And I don't think the Warriors with Kevin Durant and Steph Curry both playing are ever going to be underdogs again.
Again, that was the stat with Curry and Durant on the floor. They had never been underdogs until last night, and obviously we saw what happened there, a double-digit win. So you're right, that will be the one and only time it happens. And listen, the game played out exactly how these two teams played. James Harden and Chris Paul, dribble, ISO, shoot. They shot almost 50% of the entire team shots. And for the Golden State, they passed the ball out. Now, three guys, basically Clay, Curry, and Durant, had like 75% of the shots. But the way they move the ball, it's not dribble, ISO. It's they move the ball around to get those shots. So it's not anything we're like, wow, I didn't expect to see that. We're seeing exactly what we thought we were going to see from these two teams, and we're seeing the fact that Golden State is just better.
Yeah, Golden State's better, and they're more equipped. They've been through these situations before, so everyone on their team understands their role a little better. You've got Houston trying to play Ryan Anderson at the 5 during stretches last night, trying to go super small to combat Golden State's lineup of depth. All of these different things, and to top it all off, the one area that really, I think, hurt Houston as much as anything was foul trouble. A guy like Trevor Ariza with 5 fouls last night, limiting how effective he can be. Foul trouble early for some of their key contributors. That's an area where if they want to flip the script, they've got to find a way to get Kevin Durant and some of those important Warriors in foul trouble by going at them more than they did.
Bottom line here, you're Houston. You fought all year long. You get 82 games to get home court. It goes away in one game, a game in which your best player scored 41, played out of his mind.
Yeah.
Steph Curry only had 18. Draymond Green only had 5, and you still lost by 13 at home. You want to talk about the demoralizing factor on a scale of 1 to 10? That's about an 8.5.
And that's the thing. The coach is going to go through mistakes, going to point at 13 turnovers, going to try and say, okay, we need to do this better, because that's what the coach has to do at this point when you're in a series. But you know who knows more than anything? Those players.
Yep.
Those players. And this to me has turned into the Rockets and Harden getting his, like the Cavaliers and LeBron, who's going to score over 40 tonight, and how much help are you getting from your teammates?
Yep.
And even if you get a ton of help, is it enough against this Golden State team?
It doesn't appear like that would be the case. Speaking of LeBron and the Cavs, they demoralized the Raptors, obviously, with that 4-game sweep as they were the number 1 seed, but they're in trouble. And that really the series, for all practical purposes, could be over tonight as they try to avoid to go down 2-0 to Boston. That game is at 7:30 on ESPN and ESPN Radio, because the Celtics, Mike, are 8-0 at home this postseason. You've got to find a way to win one.
One of these, Mike, if it happens tonight, what happened in Game 1, then I truly would come back and say, okay, yeah, now I'm concerned. Right now, not. LeBron, again, the last 5 times in the Eastern Conference, he was down 0-1. He came back and won. His team won those series. So there's not that worry yet. If they get drubbed again tonight, I would obviously say there's huge worry in that fact. But we know what's going to happen, just like we knew in Game 2 of the Pacers series what was going to happen. But again, the unknown is who's going to come along for the ride with LeBron. And is Tristan Thompson going to be in the lineup to combat Al Horford? Will he be a starter tonight as opposed to coming off the bench and on Horford more?
The best tool in the Cleveland arsenal is the LeBron James adjustment. Like this idea that, and I don't know if you guys got this sneaking feeling that I did, this is just how much the basketball genius of LeBron has like inundated my peanut brain, where I'm sitting here watching LeBron
By the way,
in Game 1.
I'm so glad you finished that as peanut. I was
didn't know where that was going either. Thank you.
But I sat there watching that game and seeing the way that LeBron was sort of passively going about things and how poorly he was playing, and I said, he can't be doing this on accident, right? Like LeBron James, as great as he's been throughout this season and this playoff run, can't be going out here and actually being stopped by somebody else. So this must be intentional. This must be some larger design. And maybe that's me drinking too much of the Kool-Aid, but I couldn't help. That was how I felt.
Well, it's interesting. None other than Celtics TV analyst Brian Scalabrine told that to us. I mean, basically, he was saying, as much as, we look great and all this stuff, I kind of felt like LeBron was doing some probing. Yeah. What happens if I do this?
Recon mission.
Exactly. Yeah. What happens if I do this? And if that's what he was doing, dude, you got big ones.
Yeah, look out.
Okay, just to go in there, I'm just going to lay down basically in Game 1, 15.7 turnovers, just to see how this all plays out. I mean, that would be the most, unagi mastermind of all time. Yeah. Well done. But again, for all practical purposes, it could end tonight, because if the Celtics go 2-up, history says, see you later. Mm-hmm. They are 37-0.
That's a good record.
As in have never lost a series when they go up 2-0 in a best-of-7 series. And then, of course, the other interesting thing about the NBA is the draft lottery is tonight at 7:30 on ESPN. The Suns have the best lottery odds at 25%, and the team with the best chance has won the top pick in the last 3 years.
Yeah, so they have 25%. Then you go down to 19% for the Grizzlies, 13 for the Mavs, 13 for the Hawks, and 8 for the Magic. The Cavaliers actually having just under a 10% chance of landing a top 3 pick because of that Brooklyn pick. Would that be unreal? But a 90% chance of getting 8, 9, 10, or 11. So this next year starts the ping pong balls where the lowest 3 teams all have 14% of a chance. Right now, it is the Suns, and the last 3 years, the team with the highest and best percentage to get the number 1 pick has gotten the number 1 pick, so we'll see if it goes that way again tonight.
I'm just fascinated looking at the list of top prospects now and seeing how far down now Trae Young has fallen, who through the early portion of the college basketball season was talked about as maybe a top overall type lottery pick, and now has slid down behind a lot of size in this year's draft. Like the amount of capable, athletic, 6'10" and 7-footers in this draft shows you where this league is trending.
Well, the top 5 prospects right now, 4 are 6'11" or 7 foot.
Yeah. DeAndre Ayton, Marvin Bagley III, Jaren Jackson, and Bamba the center out of Texas. So, which is interesting if you think about it, because the way the game is being played right now on the NBA level, the big man has sort of been relegated a little bit, and it's been about the catch and shoot guys.
But it's how these guys play, though, and they can play away from the basket.
I would say it's the way guys like DeAndre Ayton can move that mimics those Anthony Davises and Giannis Antetokounmpos of the world.
Okay, so we're going to play our own lottery game right now. Right? We all set with this?
We are.
So if you're watching us on ESPN News, we have we don't have the ping pong ball to spit things out, but we got a container full of...
We got a sounder, though.
We do have a sounder?
We have a sounder. Hit the sounder.
Hit the sounder. And that's the sounder.
High production value.
Okay.
All right, so what we do, we have 32 balls in here because they have 32 questions.
But there are only 30 teams in the NBA.
So, exactly. So figure that one out. So basically...
Guys, just real quick, for the NBA draft lottery, they don't put 32 balls in one thing. Just as
I understand, because of the percentages, yes.
Okay. So the reason that we pick 32 is just arbitrary.
Just arbitrary.
Yeah, arbitrary balls.
Just because...
But we figured this isn't the NBA draft lottery, so
Correct.
we just figured to put the amount of balls in.
So the fact that there's 30 teams in the NBA has nothing to do with what we're doing.
No bearings. You were already wrong about the Supreme Court. You want to keep going?
And
try
we're off to a great start.
All right, so here we go. We're going to draw out...
Have you picked yet?
The ball, each ball here has a number on it, corresponds with something they have in the room back there. We have a 25% chance...
Of getting candy.
Of getting a candy bar, just like the Suns have a 25% chance of getting the first pick.
I feel like they thought of this game with you in mind.
I know,
I just want to be clear about
the
that.
Other percentages means they're going to ask us a question. Okay?
All right.
So I'm going to pick first. I have the number 15. What is number 15?
15. Who is the best villain in movie history?
Wait, it's not a candy bar?
It's not a candy bar.
Well, if it was a candy bar, they would have said you want a candy bar.
Well, I know.
It seemed like that was implied by what came out of their mouth.
And I'm so sad about it.
I was about to say, you get over it.
Who's the best villain? I'll tell you what. Thanos is going to be right there with getting the 6 stones, man, and what he can do. You know,
there's a very sheer mass, great bulk. He's a big hypertrophy guy.
You know what? I'll go old school. Darth Vader. Darth Vader.
Yeah.
That's where I'm going to go.
I would have gone maybe Bane.
Okay. Well, you know what? It wasn't your question.
Or how about Kevin Spacey in the movie Seven? Did you see him?
I did see him.
Ooh.
I wouldn't have picked either one of those, but hey, go ahead.
Wow, spoiler alert.
Well, it came out in 1994.
Good Lord.
I feel comfortable.
Give people a warning.
All right, here we go. Let's do another question.
Ahead.
Here we go. Sounder. Here we go. Not looking. I have picked 25.
25.
Oh, no.
I get the candy.
Don't give him the Twix.
I get the candy. I got the candy.
Oh, man.
You can't have any.
What did you get?
Devin.
Our own baloney boy, Devin.
Oh, no, he's our bubble boy.
He's been rebranded. Baloney
Reese's
boy.
peanut butter cups. Wow.
It's a great draw.
I can smell it through the
All
wrapper.
right, hit the sounder. Junior's picking.
Here we go. This concept seems vaguely familiar. I went with 26.
Ooh, weird question here. What's your best childhood memory?
My best childhood memory.
Just remember your dad sitting to your left.
It better involve your father.
So, best childhood.
And for the record, there are sports questions in here. You just haven't
this is
drawn
better.
out.
We don't care about
this
sports
is good.
questions.
We'll keep this going.
My best childhood memory, while my performance was lackluster, as a youth, I got to play Bozo's grand prize game where you stand with a ball not dissimilar to this, and you have to throw it into the the buckets one after another, and they get further away. I only made it 2 buckets, and I think I won an Aladdin board game.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
Bozo's grand prize. I mean, listen, grew up on that. So for me and your mother to watch you do that. But unfortunately, stink as bad as you did.
That was so bad.
You were horrible. He gave you an extra shot.
He did, yeah. He felt bad. The clown took pity on me.
Bad. You looked good, but you were so bad at that game, and we were heartbroken. But we thought, our one chance, and you could really star in this thing. And, well, I'm not going to lie. You disappointed us.
Maybe this is just me, maybe you guys projected so much of how much you love that it made it a great childhood memory for me, because I don't truthfully remember that much, but I remember the way it made you guys feel. So you're welcome. You got involved in this.
I very well may have spanked him when he got home.
We want to. Important information. Devin, Bubble Boy, you want to weigh in on this?
Yeah, it's a rough childhood, huh? That's your best one? That's all you got?
Listen, it was either that or the time I ate a donut that had been stuck in a tire tread for about a day. So.
Let's talk about that.
It's impressive.
Yeah, no, it was something.
So
that was on it was one of those that no one dared me, but I dared myself
to just pick A donut out of a tire?
Yeah, I don't know how I was more impressed that the donut managed to stay lodged in the tire tread as long as it did, but it was one of those chocolate-covered gas station donuts, and I just plucked it out of there and ate it. Boy, I've eaten a lot of stuff in my life. That is by far my deepest regret. It tasted really bad.
The other one, did you do bad? What'd you do with a gumball along the cafeteria floor?
It's supposed to be best childhood memory, not worst
someone who rolled
memory.
it along the cafeteria. That one's, I mean, you just blow it off a little bit. That one, that's easy to just kind of get the dust off of.
It seems like you're bringing up miserable memories. It's supposed to be a really good childhood memory.
No, believe me, this moment of self-reflection is not lost on me. It's a dark childhood.
The grand prize game was awesome. That was really cool.
You want to try one more round of these?
We'll save it.
One more round of these?
Come on.
We got more questions.
We got time.
Let's hit the sounder.
What are we going to do? Talk about sports gambling more?
Which we will be doing in a few minutes, by the way.
Please, God, let this be candy. 4.
The number 4.
What would you be doing if you weren't in the sports broadcast industry?
Making candy, I'm guessing. Hand me that box.
I don't think there's any doubt I'd be doing porn.
Okay.
You know what the worst part is I was getting ready to say that into the microphone that talks to the studio in there. My exact answer was me. Oh, yeah, porn.
Oh, there's no doubt about it.
By the way, just so you know,
I'd be a director.
Just so you know, we've lost researcher Riley. We've lost. Riley is like, she's
porn name? Golic the Gargantuan. Are you kidding me?
Oh.
I mean, seriously.
All right, we didn't need that.
What?
We didn't need any of it.
What? You asked the question. You asked the question.
Now
you
that is
answer.
true. You guys
okay?
You knew where this was going.
Moving on. Here we go. Rolling through a Tuesday morning. And it's
The Tick.
Number 18. Number 18.
If you could only listen to one musical act for the rest of your life, who would you choose?
Not the music for Golic the Gargantuan. I can promise you that.
That's a good question. I do like that.
That's a tough one. One act for the entire
rest of your life.
That's correct, yes.
I think I have to go U2.
Really?
Yeah, U2.
Okay.
Wasn't the whitest answer possible, which is what I was expecting given the normal realm of this show.
What was the whitest answer possible there?
I feel what is the whitest answer possible? Is it
Beatles?
Is it the Beatles? Yeah, the Beatles would be the whitest answer possible.
U2 has been around for a long time, and their music has gotten very varied over the years. So yeah, I would go with U2.
All right, that's a good one.
Good choice. Good choice. All right.
Well, I'm glad you approve.
Run the
thing. This would be great, by the way, if you also got candy. You can't look at them.
It doesn't matter. They're in there. It doesn't matter the number.
13.
Candy again. Candy again.
Unreal. I'm the only one who didn't get candy.
And the game was geared for you. The whole game was set up for you.
Baloney boys.
He got a Twix.
He got a Twix bar. Now, is that left Twix or right Twix?
This is the left Twix.
Because, nice, Cool in the Gang.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is fun. We have more candy. We can keep doing this, right?
Yeah.
No, there's only 2 pieces of candy. They only gave us 2 pieces of candy.
I can't believe I really disrupted to disturb people with the...
I tell you.
And your laughter.
Twix, I think, is the most underrated candy bar of all time.
Who's underrating Twix?
Love Twix.
I think everyone.
Why would people underrate Twix?
I think they're sleeping on it.
Twix is very, very high in the rankings.
I tell you what's super overrated, by the way, Snickers.
Did me really saying porn surprise that many people?
I don't, just so you know, I don't come into the studio every day thinking Golic and porn.
I think my porn name would be Snickers.
Okay, now
I think
we
that'd be a great one.
To move on.
To what?
I don't. Thank God Ryan Smith's coming on.
Where do we go? Where do we go from there?
From porn to the law, the Golic and Wingo difference.
It's really actually not a big leap if you think about it.
It really isn't.
It really is. It's really just a few statutes away. But that is the interesting thing going forward. Again, the big law struck down yesterday by the Supreme Court by a score of 6-3. Right. We got that figured out.
Yes, we did.
So sports gambling is now going to be available in states outside of Nevada if they want to do it. And we know that a few states like New Jersey, Connecticut, West Virginia, I think New York and a few others.
New Jersey could be ready to go by the NBA Finals.
Yeah, Delaware is also in there.
Delaware.
Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, Illinois.
Bottom line, there have been states preparing for this.
Yes.
And with their infrastructure and ready to go and ready to get this thing going online. And again, in as few as a couple of weeks. And from the reports and people, the analysts out there saying within 5 years, you could have basically 32 states doing this. Now, the question is going to be, is it going to be 32 or these 32 states individual state rules, or are we going to have something governing everything?
Which is what the NFL is going
like
for.
to
and
see.
We'll get into the NFL's response, which I find very curious because they're the one league that has maybe benefited more from gambling than any other sport.
Hey everyone, Mike Golic here. Support for the Golic Wingo podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Chances are you're confident when it comes to your work, your hobbies, your life. Rocket Mortgage gives you that same level of confidence when it comes to buying a home or refinancing your existing home loan. Rocket Mortgage is simple, allowing you to fully understand all the details and be confident you're getting the right mortgage for you. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Mikes. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLS, consumeraccess.org number 3030.
Decking, railing, lighting, furniture, fencing, framing. At Trex, we make the most in outdoor living because you deserve to get more from your life outdoors. So why not start bringing your ideas to life now with the brand that's engineering what's next? To learn more about all of the outdoor solutions Trex has to offer, or to find a local retailer or a certified Trex Pro deck builder near you, visit Trex.com. That's Trex.com.
Golic and Wingo on ESPN Radio and ESPN News, presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line, including our next guest who's going to help straighten out what is and isn't happening.
This is a smart segment. We needed it.
After the last segment,
yes, we
needed it double, just so you know. Our legal analyst, Ryan Smith, joins us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line, brought to you by Pennzoil Synthetics. Taking synthetic motor oil performance to a whole new level. Make the switch to Pennzoil Synthetics today. Ryan, I know you're very busy this morning and a very popular guy. Not to say you're not a popular guy every day, but you're especially popular today.
I'm only popular when something big legally happens.
Okay,
right,
so the law got struck down yesterday. So the question everyone really wants to know out of the gate is, what does that mean? What happens next?
So the biggest thing is look to Jersey. Jersey gets to start sports gambling, and they've been gearing up for this. They've already sort of passed their law. That's what this whole case was about. So within a couple of weeks, they could start taking bets. There are about 4 or 5 other states out there that passed laws but didn't quite gear up just yet because they were waiting to see what happened in this decision. If things don't go down your way, you've spent all this money, and then you just can't do sports betting. So those places will take a couple more months. I bet they're probably hoping to be up and running by football season. And then there's a handful of states out there that have laws in their legislature going through the legislature to try to get something set up for sports betting. Those will be fast-tracked, and they hope to have something by the end of the year. The last category of states are the ones that are going to take the wait-and-see approach. They don't have a law on the books yet. They haven't been proposing a law, but they want to see how this all goes. The goods, the bads, how you protect against sports, addictive gambling, how you outlaw certain things, where the most profitability is, and then they'll set up their laws. But I think this is something that within a couple of years, we could see sports betting in every single state in ways that we can't even imagine right now.
So, Ryan, since we're in an immediate society that says, oh, my God, in 2 weeks I can start betting in New Jersey, this is fantastic. What will there be any limitations, or is it all by state? Can they basically gamble, say we'll bet on anything, any prop bets, anything?
Well, there will be limitations. So in New Jersey, for example, the way it's set up, you got to be over 21. You can't bet on Jersey college teams. You can't bet on Jersey college teams that are playing games even outside of New Jersey. And you can only bet at racetracks and casinos. So that's what's happening now. Now, they are currently working on new regulations because what they essentially did here was they said, let's try to get a law in place that can pass muster with the Supreme Court. But it's kind of like a placeholder. It wasn't completely filled out with all kinds of regulations and how the taxes work and all that stuff. So they're going to do that now and get that all set up. That's what's happening there. Each state will have to decide what is good and what is bad. So some states may ban prop bets, which is exactly what the leagues want in many cases, not in every case, but in a lot of cases. But then other states, they might say, well, why not do those and see what happens? And that's going to be a problem for leagues if you've got guys betting on, for example, if the first pitch is a strike or a ball, or who gets the first free throw. I mean, those are things that the leagues are concerned players might be able to manipulate to impact the eventual outcome of the game, which hurts the integrity of the games. So I think what's really tough for the leagues now is they got to go from state to state and make sure their interests are protected. That's why they're pushing for Congress to get involved and make an overall change that can govern everybody.
talking to ESPN legal analyst Ryan Smith on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. And Ryan, when it comes to that, you mentioned it, the leagues are looking to not only protect their interest, but to also get their cut. We know Adam Silver's been out in front of this for a while talking about wanting 1%, but we hear about the precedent of Las Vegas where they haven't been getting any money there. Chris Christie's saying, why would they get any money in a state like New Jersey or elsewhere? What leverage do the leagues have, legal or otherwise, to push back and say we deserve a share of this?
So, Mike, you make a great point. Right now their argument is give it to us because we want it, which I can tell you from negotiation perspective is not a successful strategy. So I think what they will eventually do is they're going to argue, hey, our intellectual property rights are being violated. We've got this product out there that without it you wouldn't be able to make this money, and therefore we're going to try to find a way to maybe threaten a lawsuit or try to restrict you from getting certain intellectual property in betting. Now, that hasn't really worked in Vegas, so they're going to have a tough road there. The other thing they can try to do is say, we're going to offer you something special. We'll offer you a way to protect your citizens if you work with us. We've got the data and everything that makes sure that you can detect when you've got problem gamblers betting on games. And you better believe that states, even though they want the revenue, they don't want to see a whole new class of addictive gamblers coming up and families being threatened because of this. So that's a selling point that I think the leagues think they have to say, look, we've got the data, the analysis, we can track things for you. We can be a partner in this so we can both make money. But right now, that argument isn't working in some states. In New York, they're kind of thinking, well, why would we pay you a dime? You're not paying Nevada a dime. And then the other question becomes, okay, so if you do get some people to pay, are you then going to go back and try to get Nevada to pay? So it's kind of, right now they're more hopeful than anything, and they feel like if they can offer things that the state can't do itself, then maybe they'll be able to justify that fee. But they're couching it in this language of, well, it's our product, so you should pay us. And I can tell you that alone ain't going to cut it.
That's not going to cut a thing, but leverage is the key. So we brought this up a little earlier. If they can do this, what do people want to know as far as gambling more than anything else? Who's playing, who's not, who's hurt, who's not? We see injury reports all the time. Do the leagues control those enough where they can say, you know what, we're pulling those back. Now we're not giving anybody any injury information at all, even though it's been given out for years now. Could they legally pull that back? Could that work for them?
I think they could try to do that, and I think they could try to pull back a lot of things that bettors and people who are making lines try to rely on. But there's problems with that, and this is sort of the damned if you do, damned if you don't scenario. So let's say you pull back those injury reports, and you feel like you have a basis to do that. They're your injury reports, so you should have control over them. You say, hey, if you got a problem with it, fight me in court. But let's say there's somebody on the inside that a betting house can get in touch with, can pay him a little bit of money, and now those reports are leaked. Now you've got one company with injury reports, other companies without them, and confusion among the public, confusion among your fan base. I think the problem is not as simple as cutting off a report, because we live in the age of leaks. We live in the age of people taking payments for different things. If you can't get them somewhere else, that information is valuable. And while leagues would say, well, we'll lock that down and make sure it's not going to get out, you have to wonder whether or not that's going to be a successful solution. So I think that's why you see the NBA, Adam Silver, Major League Baseball, and even the NFL to some extent, going to these states and trying to work with them. And I think it just is the best solution, because all the threats, they can always come up with a lawsuit, guys. You can always come up with a lawsuit talking about how somebody's violating your privacy rights. There's a lot of different claims they could make. But ultimately, working with them is the best solution, because anything you try to hold back could be something that someone else could try to take, buy from somebody on the inside, and try to exploit to their advantage, damaging your fan base even more.
Ryan Smith with us, our ESPN legal analyst. And to that point, Ryan, the NFL has come more than any other league at this point with the strongest statement saying we need to make sure we protect the integrity of the game when it comes to sports betting. Mm-hmm. But it's interesting if you look at historically things, for example, in Europe, where there's been legalized gambling for a long, long time. Yes. Actually, that gambling and that legalized gambling has led to the finding out of certain things that were affecting the integrity of the game. For example, there have been tennis match fixing scandals all the time, and the reason those things came to light is because of the broker houses and the bookie houses all were looking at illegal trend or very odd trends in gambling that led to these being exposed. So in a weird way, what a lot of the leagues are concerned about may actually be beneficial to them because of legalized gambling.
I love that you say that, Trey, because I think you make an excellent point. The idea that we could find out about illegal things that are going on right now is wonderful for the public. You know who doesn't like that? The leagues. You know why? Can you imagine how much we would talk endlessly about how the NFL failed to do their job by allowing a scandal to happen if that came out? That's the only thing. I think, especially in Europe, they view these things somewhat differently. And I'm not saying everybody in the league feels that way. What I'm saying is, if we see one scandal that comes out as a result of this happening, it's going to be another reason why the league didn't want this to happen in the first place, because now it's more publicity about how the league isn't doing something right and how you can't trust any of the outcomes in the games here. And I think that scares them to death. I think they would rather have a situation where you're looking forward and they're able to control this. And that's been the biggest problem all along with all this, especially for the NFL. You fear what you can't control. They can't control what states are going to do, what they're going to allow, what the penalties are going to be if people violate laws with respect to this. That's going to be the hardest thing for them to deal with. So even though you might get more information and you might root out more bad things, imagine what people are going to say if there's a big betting scandal or if there's a big scandal that comes out about fixing in football. I mean, everybody's going to look at the NFL and say, how can we trust anything about the outcome? The chance of that having an impact on their bottom line has got to scare them to death.
Well, look, the bottom line is the bottom line.
Yes.
And that's maybe the truest thing in all of this, and that's what they're trying to protect as well as everything else. But again,
right,
some of these things that may come out will actually, you can be beneficial because of this going forward, and we'll see how it all plays out. Again, go ahead, Ryan, what are you going to say?
No, I completely agree with you. I'm saying what I love about what you're saying is you're saying it's beneficial, and I think I agree with you.
Yeah.
Absolutely beneficial in the long term. The problem is a lot of these leagues are thinking short term,
right.
And they're thinking, well, in the short term, they're going to destroy us. They're going to say, well, you know what, we can't trust anything about the game. And I think sometimes they get too caught up in trying to limit short-term exposure to bad things rather than think about all the good something could do.
Yeah, the bottom line, this isn't getting overturned again anytime soon. So this is our new reality.
No.
Ryan, you are the most popular man in all of media today, and we appreciate you spending some
Thanks,
time
Ryan.
with us.
Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Ryan.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Ryan Smith always breaks it down really,
Yes, he
really
does.
sharp.
Yes, he
Really,
does.
really smart dude.
I'm a one-trick pony. Literally. I show up at kids' parties and act cute. That's pretty much it. So excuse me for being bitter. When Geico says not only could we save you money on car insurance, but we do more. Like give you 24/7 access online, over the phone, or even via our award-winning mobile app. Well, ooh la la. Aren't they multi-talented? Hey, I said organic carrots.
Geico. Expect great savings and a whole lot more.
What would you be doing if you weren't in the sports broadcast industry?
I don't think there's any doubt I'd be doing porn.
Okay.
Oh, just no doubt about it. Porn name, Golic the Gargantuan. Are you kidding me?
Oh.
I mean, seriously.
All right, we didn't need that.
What?
We didn't need any of it.
What? You asked the question. You asked the question.
No,
you
that
get an
is
answer.
true. You guys
Okay?
you knew where this was going.
Moving on.
Exactly right. Don't ask a question unless you don't want an answer. Sports Center brought to you by Dell. May is Small Business Month. And thank you for all your hard work. Dell is offering up to 40% off select PCs with the 8th Gen Intel Core processors. Call 877-BUY-DELL to speak with a small business technology advisor today. That's 877-BUY-DELL.
All right, Golic and Wingo here with you. By the way, in light of that sounder that we just played, I have an alternative name for you should you pursue that field.
Mm-hmm.
Golic the Overcompensator.
Well,
I was going to throw that out there as well.
It's a bit verbose.
Thank you, but also a bit accurate. Okay, so the NBA Draft Lottery is tonight at 7:30 Eastern on ESPN and ESPN Radio. The Knicks have a 1.7% chance at the top pick. The Suns have the best odds, 25% to land the top pick. And then the Cavs have, like a 10% chance?
They have right just under 10% to get a top 3 pick.
Top 3
yes.
pick.
Yeah.
And again, some of the top picks that are going to be out there. DeAndre Ayton is one of the top picks. We're looking at Jarrett Jackson, Marvin Bagley Jr., Mohamed Bamba, Luka Doncic. By the way, Mina Kimes' article on Luka Doncic was very interesting.
Yeah, it was.
Especially through the prism of the Darko Milicic
stellar
disaster.
Exactly.
Yes, exactly. But a stellar look at a guy who, by all metrics and a lot of different ways, is one of the highest-rated prospects to ever come out of that area.
But again, remember, everybody rolled their eyes at the Knicks when they went down the Kristaps Porzingis road,
right.
And that turned out to be pretty solid.
Yes, has worked out.
So we'll see whether he goes down the Milicic road or the Porzingis road or maybe somewhere in between.
All right.
Great porn crossover nicknames, by the way. Frank Thomas, the Big Hurt.
Okay.
Well, there you go.
How about Freddie the Hammer Williamson?
It's a good one.
Who's going down this road? I just answered the question. All of a sudden, you're going down this road.
I just want to throw this out because I think on some level it works. Former Indiana and Mavericks hitter Uwe Blupp.
Oh, God. So what we're doing is we have 32 of our own ping pong balls in here with numbers on them, and we have a 25% chance to grab a number in here where we get candy. That's our first round pick. If not, there's a question asked to us, and a question asked to me, if I wasn't in this business, what business would I be? And that led to the whole porn thing. So moving on from that.
Wait a minute.
What?
I won a candy the last time around.
Sure did.
It was opened and eaten. Was that you?
Prove it. Number 22.
You can't leave candy around this gentleman.
Number 22.
22. Which 3 non-athletes, past or present, would you want to play a round of golf with?
I'm enjoying your struggle.
I think you're
candy.
making this up, and I'm actually getting candy, and you're just going to a question.
Well, you have gotten candy.
What was the question? I wasn't even listening.
Which 3 non-athletes, past or present, would you most want to play a round of golf with?
Barkley?
Yes, because your swing would actually be better.
Which 3 non-athletes?
Oh, non-athletes.
Well, you can make the argument right now he's very non-athletic with that
Past
swing.
or present?
Chris Farley.
Nice.
Adam Sandler.
Nice.
And I know he can play. Let's watch Happy Gilmore.
Yeah, Farley can't.
Yeah.
Well,
And
you said past or present.
You said past or present.
Oh. You have a third one?
Yeah.
You have a third one?
No, not really.
Okay, pass on the third.
Yeah,
Give me
ahead.
the bucket.
Yeah.
What about Pistol Pete?
Stole my... we're moving on. Here we go. All right, here we go. Sounder. Shuffle. Number 1, baby.
Wow.
Numero uno. Yeah.
Wow.
I want some candy. Candy man. See, this is what you get. This is what you get for eating my candy.
Again, 25% to get the candy. That's our first round pick. Give the ping pong balls over here.
Nah, you give it to your
What'd you
son.
get this time?
I got Skittles.
Wow, nice.
Channeling my little Marshawn Lynch.
That's very nicely done.
There you go.
All right,
Beast mode.
Spin it.
I feel like Randy Johnson really missed his calling, by the way, the big unit.
Oh, my gosh. We're still on that road.
5.
Number 5. Oh, candy again?
Yeah. Devin's getting his aerobic workout
This
in.
isn't right.
Oh, it's right on so many levels.
There is no way I'm the only one not picking candy.
Well, it hasn't affected your candy eating, hence my broken wrapper here in my Reese's peanut butter cup.
Again, I say prove it.
Devin, hit me where it
Prove
hurts.
it.
The
But you got a
Snickers bar
Snickers
that I
bar.
slandered earlier.
You did slander this.
It's a great
Snickers
golf
bar.
treat, but Three Musketeers is a better candy bar.
Well, have we ever figured out what nougat actually consists of?
Nougat, mostly.
Thank you.
Yeah, about 100% nougat.
Got a lot of nougat in it.
Which is based on what?
But based on nougat.
Nougat?
Comes from the nougat plant.
You want to try and sneak in another one?
There's a nougat tree.
Rick, real quickly, sneak in another. See if he can finally get his candy. Like a big baby.
Oh, guys, I don't know how we missed this one before, the Black Mamba.
Moving on. We already said that one.
14.
Would you rather have an elite pass rush or an elite secondary?
Well, if you're the Cleveland Browns, we know the answer.
Without a doubt, an elite pass rush, of which I was part of
There
in
you go.
Philadelphia.
So
Clyde, Reggie, Jerome, Pitts, Golic,
Evans.
We were feared on that D-line in that pass rush.
And you were a part of it.
Feared, and I was part. Yeah. Absolutely a pass rush.
There you go. Which is why you're not in the front office for the Cleveland Browns.
Pretty much.
They took Denzel Ward fourth when Bradley Chubb
they
was
feel that
sitting.
pass rush. They like the depth on their D-line.
That's
where they're
wonderful.
going right now.
We'll see how it works out. Coming up, Booze Cruise on a Tuesday morning. Carlos Boozer, next best dressed guy in the studio. That's a given. Stay with us. We're back. Golic and Wingo. No